Hi everyone, I'm Steve and this is the College Support Network. In the past, I've worked as a college advisor on high school campuses, and I also have experiences working with college admissions, financial aid, and academic advising. I'm really passionate about college access, and I understand that applying to colleges could be really confusing, and quite honestly, it's pretty frustrating as well. That's why I'm here to provide you with the best information and the most quality information so you can reach your college goals. I think I have a really good video for you all today. When I was a college advisor, students would always ask me, hey, how do I choose a major, or how do I know the major I chose is right for me? Sometimes students would even ask, I know I want to do this as a career, or I know I want to do this as a job after I graduate, but I don't know which major to choose just because there are a lot of majors that are similar. So if you find yourself asking some of these questions to yourself, this is the right video for you. Specifically in this video, I want to talk about why choosing a major is important at all. Then I want to get into tips for choosing a major, different ways for you to actually choose your major, key questions to ask yourself when choosing your major, and then finally, I just wanted to give you some general tips and some final tips to leave you all with. And before we get started with the video today, I just want to give you all around 3 seconds to like the video if you haven't done so already, and please subscribe. Alright, let's get started. Alright, so why is choosing majors so important? Well, research done by the National Center for Education Statistics has noted that around 30% of all undergraduate students, whether they're applying for a bachelor's or an associate's degree, actually change their major within the first 3 years of school. In the same report, it was shown that 1 in 10 students actually change their major more than once as well. You might be asking yourself, why is this important, or what does it even matter if I change my major 1, 2, even 3 times? So although there might not be anything inherently wrong with changing your major once or maybe a couple of times, students should still definitely be aware of some of the side effects that it may cause for their future college plans. For instance, depending on how different your first major is to your second major and when you actually decide to change your major, this will definitely prolong your graduation. So if you're a third year nursing student and then you decide, hey, I actually want to do Spanish instead, or I want to do math, or I want to do business, all these majors are going to be totally different from what your nursing major was. That means you're going to be adding a lot more courses, a lot more requirements, and unfortunately a lot more quarters and semesters to your program. Additionally, the more courses and requirements that you have to complete your degree, the more college is going to cost. Similar to the last example, if you change your major in your third year and your new major is totally different from what your major was before, or even if it's pretty similar but you have to add more courses and more requirements, you're going to have to pay for each additional course. And as we learned already, tuition is paid per unit. So obviously, the more units that you take, the more that you're going to have to pay per unit. And honestly, college is getting really expensive recently, so you want to minimize the amount of courses and units that you have to take to graduate. Besides tuition, you also have to think about other costs that are related to taking more courses or having more requirements, such as paying for more books, paying for more exams, paying for more school supplies, pens, pencils, notebooks, things like that. Another reason why choosing the right major is really important now when you're applying to colleges is that you really need to choose a major that will help you get to your career and professional goals. For example, if I really know I want to get into finance when I grow up, or if I really want to be an accountant or something in the business field, I'm not going to major in biology or physics or something that's not related to business at all, right? I'm definitely not saying that you can't be an accountant if you're a biology major or if you're a physics major. However, you want to just make sure that you take the right classes and you choose the right majors that could help best get you to what you want to be when you grow up. An interesting fact about all this is that according to the US Department of Labor, an average person in the 20s switches their job once every 3 years, and the average person switches their career fields 2 or 3 times in their entire lifetime. To add on to this, a lot of research shows that people that switch their careers or jobs multiple times, it was because they actually chose a major that they weren't really or truly interested in when they were in college, if they went to college at all. So I know this might sound scary to a lot of you all that are juniors and seniors in high school right now, and or maybe now worried that you have to choose the right major when you're applying to colleges, or you're going to be switching jobs every 3 or 4 years and you're going to pay a lot of money to switch your major when you're in college. Take a deep breath, don't worry. I myself, and this is full disclosure, I changed my major 3 times when I was in college, and I started as an environmental engineer major, and then I switched to business, and then eventually I graduated with history and education as my double major. So I graduated in 4 years, and I actually didn't even end up going into the field that I thought I was going to when I graduated. I think I'm doing fine. I'm not sure. I think I'm doing pretty good for myself right now. I love everything I'm doing. I love the career that I'm in the field that I'm in, and I honestly wouldn't go back and change anything at all. So like I mentioned before, there's nothing inherently wrong with changing your major once or even multiple times. However, my big tip here is that when you are choosing a major, don't just choose a major because someone else told you about it or because a friend is doing it and they are doing well for themselves. Really take time to think about the first major that you're applying to, because this could really set you up for your future. So let's talk about some tips for choosing your major. The first and most important tip is just know yourself. This includes knowing what you like and what you don't like. When I work with high school students and they aren't sure about what they like and what they don't like, I tell them to make 2 different lists for me. On one list, you're going to list 5 to 10 things that you love doing. This could be anything. It doesn't have to be related to a major. It doesn't have to be related to a job field. Just 5 to 10 things that you love doing. Just write it down. Don't even think about it. And then on another list, you're going to write 5 things that you hate. 5 things that you don't like at all and you don't want anything to do with. These 2 lists can be really influential and impactful about helping you learn about yourself. However, students can actually cross-reference them to help them figure out what major might be a good option for them or what career might be a good option for them. For instance, I had a student in the past that created a like or love list of different things that pointed them into being a nurse. They wrote things like they really wanted to help people, they really enjoyed being around people, they liked helping people get better from being sick, and obviously this all sounds like they would be a great nurse, right? However, she noted on her hate list that she really hated the sight of blood and it made her feel really uncomfortable. So obviously, being a nurse might not have been the best option for her. This is just one reason why knowing yourself is really important, and then also why having a list of things that you like and then having another list of things that you don't like or hate can actually be really useful for helping you choose your major. The second tip is just knowing your strengths and weaknesses. Similar to the last tip, I usually tell students to create a list of their strengths and weaknesses. Don't even think about it, just jot it down, just jot maybe 5 to 10 down. And then from your strengths list, you could maybe think about some majors that may benefit from the strengths that you have. And then on your weaknesses list, you can maybe think about some majors that you might want to stay away from because it requires you to have strength in whatever your weakness is. I know this sounds a little bit confusing, but just for a quick example, if you really find yourself hating public speaking, you get nervous all the time, your hands get sweaty, you get a knot in your stomach, you get sweaty everywhere before you have to do a presentation, maybe try to stay away from careers where you actually have to do presentations all the time or when you have to speak in front of people or just be publicly speaking. However, one note about the weakness list is that it could actually be useful in another way. Using the same example as before, if I know I want to be in a major or career that would require a lot of public speaking and I know that's a weakness of mine, I would go ahead and try to take a bunch of speech classes or public speaking classes to actually help me get better so I could still pursue the major and career that I want. The third tip is look at the grades that you received in high school. For this tip, I really want you all to ask yourself 2 questions. What class did you excel in and what class did you not do so well in? For example, if I want to pursue business economics and in high school I did really well in classes such as econ, math, statistics, and things like that, business econ would probably be a good idea for me. Conversely, if I really wanted to pursue something in pre-med and I failed or did really poorly in classes such as biology, chemistry, physics, I might take a second look and see if I really want to pursue it. However, this isn't to say that if you did poorly in high school classes, then you wouldn't be a good fit for that major or specific field in the future, but it's just something to think about. This actually leads me into my second question for this tip, which is what did I enjoy doing most and what did I enjoy doing least in terms of classes and subjects? This question is really different from the last question about what I excelled in and what I didn't excel in, because sometimes students just don't do the best in the classes that they enjoy the most. For instance, some students really love biology, but sometimes it's just hard for them to grasp. Same with chemistry, math, Spanish, English, whatever class it may be. Even though you really enjoy it, sometimes you just don't get the best grade for whatever reason. However, just because you didn't get a good grade in it doesn't mean that it's not something that you love and it's not something that you should pursue. So that's why asking yourself the second question, what did you enjoy the most, could actually be really beneficial for helping you choose your major. The fourth tip is look at the extracurricular activities that you're involved in and some of the hobbies that you're currently doing. Similar to the tips before, I just want students to make a list of different things that they really enjoy doing and things that they really dislike doing. So, for example, if I was really fond of being president of the math club or being involved in the math club, then maybe pursuing something that's related to math might be a good idea for me. However, one thing to know is that not every extracurricular activity that you did or hobby that you pursued has to be in a formal setting. For instance, if I really enjoyed working with computers and I really liked coding on my free time and I wasn't a part of any coding or computer club at high school, but I still spent all my free time doing it, this is definitely something that you still want to think about, and you might want to use it when you're looking at the different majors that might be a good option for you. My fifth and final tip for helping you figure out what major might be a good option for you or just how to choose a major is online quizzes and exams. When looking at these online quizzes and exams, I usually tell students to look at 3 different types. The first type are the ones that actually tell you the specific major to choose based on the questions that you had answered. The second type tells you what types of employments might be a good idea for you. This type is a little bit less specific and a little bit more general because it won't actually give you a specific major to choose from. In most cases, it'll give you an employment or multiple employments that you can choose from, such as maybe teacher or firefighter or police officer or scientist, something like that. And then from there, it will actually give you a list of majors for each different employment type. And then from there, you could choose which might be a good option for you. This last type is the most general and least specific because it actually won't give you a specific employment type. It'll just give you general areas of interest that might be useful for you. For example, they might put something such as the helping profession, and this is very general because helping profession could mean anything between firefighter to therapist to teacher to nurse. But this can be really useful for students that have really no idea what they want to do, and they just maybe found out that they should be in the helping profession and it was something that they weren't thinking about before. Another great thing about this last type is that for a lot of these exams, you can actually click down and further narrow down your general areas of interest, and then it could actually help you choose a major at the end. Using the same example as before, a student that was given the answer of helping profession can actually click down lower and see the different types of employment or jobs that might be useful for them. From there, they could actually click on each specific employment type and it will give them the list of majors that they could choose to help them get to that employment type. I'll leave a link below to some of the quizzes and exams that I found really useful when I was a college advisor, as well as some quizzes and exams that I actually used when I was in high school myself to help me choose a major. Next, I want to talk about 4 different reasons why students choose a specific major. One quick note here is that you could actually combine all 4 different reasons, or you could use 3 of the 4, 2 of the 4, or just even use 1. Every student has their own reasons for applying to or choosing a specific major. It's entirely up to you. There's no real right answer here. These are just some different reasons why students choose a specific major. The first reason is career prep. Like I mentioned before, a lot of students choose majors specifically based on what they think they want to do in the future or what they want to do as a career. So depending on what your employment type is or what you think your employment type is going to be, you're going to want to choose a major that could help best prepare you to get there. The second reason is future earning potential. For a lot of students, college is a huge investment, both in terms of money and time. So a lot of students will actually choose a major specifically on what they think might make them the most money in the future in terms of salary or bonuses or vacation time, whatever it may be. A lot of students will use the major specifically for this reason. And like I mentioned already, there's no right or wrong answer here. If this is the reason why you want to choose a major, definitely go ahead and pursue that. One quick tip for me, at least, is just make sure that it's a major that you can actually see yourself doing all 4 years or however long it takes you to graduate. If you really want to be a computer scientist or you want to major in computer science because it will make you a lot of money in the future, but you know you're going to hate all the classes, or you know you are not that strong in math or things that are needed to be a strong computer scientist, you might want to consider something else. At the end of the day, you just want to make sure that you yourself are happy. There's no amount of money in the world that could buy you happiness. It definitely helps get you things that might make you happy. However, like I said, if this is something you really want to pursue, definitely up to you. The next reason why students choose a major is based on subjects. Like I mentioned before, some students really hate some subjects and don't want to pursue that at all anymore, and some students really love some other subjects and they know for sure that it's something that they want to do for the rest of their life. This might be a good way to choose a major because the more you enjoy a class or the more you enjoy a subject, the more engaged you're likely to be. And the more that you're engaged, the more likely you are to learn and the more likely you are to get a good grade in the class that you're taking. As I mentioned before about quality of life, if you're really enjoying everything that you're doing and you love all the subjects that you're currently studying, this is a really good way to choose a major. You're choosing a major that you really love, enjoy doing, you spend all your free time doing it, and it never really feels like a chore or hard work when you're studying. It's just you're doing something that you love. And the last reason why students choose a major is strictly based on what their interests are. For students that truly have no idea what they want to do, they have no idea what subjects that they like, they have no idea of subjects that they hate, they just know they like doing a lot of different things. Start thinking about what you're doing on your free time, think about what your interests are and how your hobbies are related to that. From there, you can actually maybe try and make a list of majors that are related to all your different interests, your different passions, and your different hobbies. And then hopefully you can maybe narrow down that list even more and figure out some different majors that might be a good option for you. Personally, I think looking at your interests is a great way for choosing a major. Similar to my last point, if you're really engaged and really interested in what you're learning, the better off you're going to be and the better quality of life you might have. Next, I just want to briefly mention some key questions that students should be asking themselves when they're looking at a major to apply to. For this section, I really want students to have one major in mind and then ask yourself these questions to figure out if this major is something that you want to pursue in the future. First is, does it match my abilities or the abilities I wish to have in the future? The second is, does it relate to my own core values? 3 is, am I actually interested in it at all? 4 is, am I passionate in it? 5 is, can I imagine or envision myself pursuing this or doing this years beyond graduation? 6 is it in demand or employable? The 7th question is a little bit harder for some students to answer, but it's just something to think about. It's, will it be around in the future and what is the trajectory of this major? Last is, how well does it pay? So the importance of all 8 of these questions may vary between student to student. For example, some students don't care if they are going to be passionate in it at all, as long as it pays them well in the future. Some students might not care if it doesn't pay that well, as long as it's something that they're passionate about and enjoy doing. Like I said, all 8 questions aren't really crucial for you for choosing a major. However, they are just key questions that you should ask yourself to see if the major that you're thinking about right now might be a good option for you at all. Before I go into the final tips for today, just make sure to hit that thumbs up if you haven't done so already, and also subscribe, because now that you have a better idea of how to choose a major or what majors to look at, this will be really useful for our next video where I talk about how to create a college list. Alright, so let's talk about some final general tips I have for you all for choosing a college major. The first is just speaking with your guidance counselor. For a lot of students, your guidance counselor is someone that knows you both academically and personally. A lot of the times they'll actually be the best person to ask in terms of advice for what majors to pursue in, or at least what different types of employment or fields of interest might be a good option for you. However, I do recognize that a lot of students may not have the best relationship with their guidance counselors. I hear horror stories all the time. For students in this situation, I really advise just asking someone that you really trust or someone that you can really talk to that knows you both academically and personally and may be able to provide you with some important information about what majors might be a good option for you. The second tip is for students that already have an idea of what major they want to pursue, but then they're a little bit unsure. If you find yourself in this situation, I would advise you to talk to your friends and family, current students, or even alumni of the major that you're interested in to find more information. You definitely want to ask if they really enjoyed their major, or if they enjoyed their experiences, or they disliked it, or just maybe ask them some things that they liked and some things that they didn't like, so then you can weigh them for yourselves to see if it might be a good option for you. Similar to the last tip, you want to start talking to people that are currently in the industry or currently working in the field that you are interested in. For example, if you really want to be a Spanish teacher in the future and you're not sure if it's going to be the right career for you or if you're choosing the right major, definitely talk to your local high school Spanish teacher or even other people that you know that are in the field or industry and have a conversation with them to see if they could provide you with any advice or just any insights about their field, their college experience, their major, and things like that. The next tip is for students to have multiple ideas of what they want to do in the future, and they have multiple majors that they're interested in and they just don't know what to choose. For students in this situation, I would definitely go and see if it's feasible for you to complete maybe a double major or even a triple major or a minor or a specialization. Just anything that could involve all different interests or different majors that you're interested in and allow you to graduate in the time that you want. Alright y'all, so that's all I have for today. Before I let you leave though, I do have a question for you. What major are you currently looking at, or what majors are you currently looking at and why? Feel free to answer in the comments below. With all that being said, that's all I have for today. As always, if you learned something new, thumbs if you learned and subs if you loved. Take care, y'all.